Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you're watching the Everyday's Trading Review with Gerchik Co. And today's program is going to be about the stock market situation, the news background, and of course we are going to check the situation with Forex pairs. We're going to check the charts for fulfilling the day trade earnings and the strategies for mid-term and of course long-term tradings as well. We're going to see what would go on due to some predictions of analysts and due to the news background. We're going to check all of these factors, and of course at the end we're going to see what is going on with the cryptocurrency pairs, with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the other currency pairs which we have on our platform of Gerchik Co. And mainly for today, the problem of the energy crisis is still and it remain on the markets. As you know, gas prices have been rise for some days ago. It just broke through the maximums, and all of this sharp movements on the energy market is really related to the escalation of the situation between Ukraine and Russia. And the situation is continuing, this escalation is continuing, nothing is obviously done yet. So there is some predictions about oil market and about the decision of the OPEC cartel, which would actually show and which would actually tell us that what would happen with the price action in the future. So if OPEC is going to higher the supplies and increase the supplies, it would mean that oil prices have to kind of dump. But the situation which we have for today, due to the oil prices, it's not that bad. As you see on the daily chart of oil prices. And the main reason is that even despite the OPEC decision about the increasing of oil supplies, we have the problem of energy crisis, we have the problem the escalation of the war situation between Ukraine and Russia. And of course there is some suspicions that even in the case of OPEC increasing the oil supplies, some of the members of OPEC won't be really able to increase the supplies as well. As you know, President Biden actually asked many of his colleagues in the other countries, like Japan, like India, to just higher the supplies, to just increase the supplies. But there's a problem nowadays even with Russia that cannot really increase its own supplies. So as we know, the politic of OPEC is very dovish, and it have to make oil prices to dump. But this won't happen because of the power which we have now, the power of the effect of the energy crisis and the situation which we have in Europe. So we had some even news about that United States and Arabic countries are going to supply gas and oil to Europe, so they would kind of make a more stable situation with energy crisis in the Western Europe, which have been escalated because of the Ukrainian and Russian war situation. But despite all of this helps, all of these things, there still remain the suspicion of the problem with the oil supplies in the Western Europe. So the prices, I don't think that they are going to go really lower. As we see on the oil chart, on the 4-hour chart, and the shrinking of the volatility is the only thing that I can actually pay attention on. Here we have some divergence, which is very mild, really mild. So if the divergence is really mild, it means that this divergence could continue. It means that within some nearest upward impulses, after some nearest upward impulses, we could get reversed. But anyway, these reversal movements are really, really short, like here, for example, due to the whole scale of movement which we have, due to the whole amplitude of the movement. So even due to this shrinking of volatility in a form of a wedge, and even despite the formation of this divergence between price maximums and the line of oscillator, I don't really think that prices are going to make some powerful correctional downward movement. And as we hear from yesterday, if you remember, about the situation which is now on the stock market of the United States, we have already retested the $4,000 due to the S&P 500. It was 4,100, 4,200, and this level have been retested, and it was actually near to the historical minimum which we had. So as we predicted during previous sessions, prices went down, but as we predicted, they have been reversed from this level. They have been reversed from this historical level. They have been broke it through. It was a really speculative movement, which maybe made most of the sellers to get into unuseful tradings and positions, short positions. But as we always remind, there is a chance of speculation when you are retesting the local minimums or historical minimums or even maximums. So the movement which you have now, unfortunately, is really, really impulsive. So can I be sure about the continuation of upward movement in the near future? I don't think so. But here we have some chance of the continuation of the movement within some corridor. It means that the continuation of consolidational movement, the horizontal movement of the price. And if something like that happens, you would have better chance to just take the price within the channel. You can actually trap it within the channel and open the trading, open the positions due to the price retesting the local minimums and maximums. And you can actually open and close the trades within the channel, which would be really good for day traders as well. And I don't know where's my Dow Jones index, which have been actually yeah, it's here. And as well, Dow Jones chart is showing us that situation is actually the same. It's really the same, and we have waited for the retest of this really important support which we had, and this support have been retested. So from previous time when we were talking to you, we were breaking through the 35,000. We said the 35,000 is a really important level, so we stocked about under it, and as we stocked under it, the prices continued the downward movement. It was visible, it was predictable, and we said that if we get stuck under 35,000, it means that prices are going to retest the next levels. And what are the next levels? The next levels are the local supports which we have, local historical supports of Dow Jones. But unfortunately here the movement is as well really impulsive, this upward movement which we have. And this won't give us a chance to be really sure about the continuation of some really powerful movement on the markets. Many analysts and many banks are telling us that prices on the stock market, prices of indexes, United States stock market indexes, are going to rise maybe during this year, despite the Federal Reserve System interest rate hiking. But that's not really a good scenario, and it's not a really realistic scenario to stick with. And I think that maybe you should hedge mostly by dollar, and when you hedge by dollar, it's the situation would be way better. Due to the daily chart of the dollar index, as you see, we had some speculative retest and the false breakthrough of a local maximum which happened here. And after this false breakthrough, within some days we had the reversal. But as well, this downward movement is really impulsive, so we cannot be really sure about the continuation of this movement. But When this movement ends, next short positions for dollar and to euro to pound won't be really realistic to get done. So when this downward impulse ends, you have to actually understand that you need to close the short positions. And now prices are kind of retesting important levels. Prices now are retesting really important levels of 90, which is actually 96.20, but we haven't yet reached this level. So we are going to reach this level, 92, 96.20, and 96.20, 96 is the range after the retest of which prices are going to reverse. Mostly they are going to reverse. So due to the situation which we have here and due to the economic calendar, let's next go through the forex pairs: euro, pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, oil prices, gold prices as well. And to understand what would go on with the prices of all of these assets, we have to check the economic calendar of today. So what remains on the calendar is the releases from Canada, this GDP, the gross domestic product, which is kind of falling. And this is a really bad factor for Canadian dollar. But if oil prices rise, this would really help Canadian dollar. So these releases won't really make Canadian dollar to fall in the case of United States dollar decreasing and oil prices increasing. So in this case, these releases won't really mean anything to Canadian dollar. At 15 o'clock by GMT time, if I'm not, 15 o'clock by GMT time, we have ISM manufacturing release, which is falling as well, and the job opening, new job opening, which is unfortunately falling as well. So United States dollar has really, for due to today's releases, United States dollar is not really in a good mood. So it would continue the downward movement. It would really continue this downward impulse, and it's the main scenario with which we can stick. So let's see what's going on with the pairs, with the forex pairs. Due to the daily chart of euro, of pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar, we have some upward impulse. Previously, we had some really impulsive upward impulse. Would it continue? I think that during next sessions, it could continue because dollar is going to fall further because of the releases, because of the situation which we have now. On the stock market is really positive, and this impulse would continue, but we have to wait for some retests of the local resistance. So for all of these pairs, so 1.1350 and 1.14 are the levels after the retest of which we have to get out and we have to move out from the long position. So the upward impulse could really continue to these levels, but you have to pay attention that the breakthrough of these levels, of this resistance, would be really, really speculative. And after the breakthrough of these levels, we are mainly going to continue the downward movement. Mainly, we are going to continue the downward movement. And due to the pound prices, actually here we have some potential of upward movement, but we are now testing a really psychological level, which is a target level, as we can say. 1.35, 1.3550 maybe is going to get retested, but you have to pay attention that nearest retest of all of these levels, of this nearest resistance, are speculative. And after the retest of this resistance, we could get some amplitude decrease, and we could get some consolidational movement. You could get some correctional downward movement, after which we won't be really sure about the continuation of this upward movement. So let's say that in the near future, we are waiting for the retest of the nearest local resistance. Because of the impulsiveness of this movement, we cannot be so sure about its continuation. Australian dollar showing us as well, which is actually already stuck under a really important level of 0.71, which is a mirror level. And until we get above this level, due to daily chart, we cannot be sure about the continuation of upward movement. After we get above this level, above 0.71, we could be more sure about the continuation of upward movement or the continuation of upward impulse. But before that, we cannot be really sure. Let's see what is going on in a 4-hour chart. As we see here, we have some pressure, you have some accumulation of the energy, and there is a chance of this level's impulsive breakthrough. So 0.71, 0.71, maybe 50. I'm not really sure about it, but 0.71, 0.7150 are the next levels which could get retested, and after these levels retest, we are waiting for next downward movement. If we get strengthened above 0.71, the situation for midterm could really change. But before we get really strengthened above 0.71, and if we get some low amplitude here, and if we get shrinking of volatility here, it won't mean that the market is going to be bullish. So you have to get out of the long positions. New Zealand dollar as well showing us this upward impulse. It's not really powerful. It's really under pressure, showing us some pattern, some reversal pattern, which you can actually observe here. Looks like a failure swing, which is a reversal pattern, but the target of this reversal pattern is maximum 0.6650. So 0.6650 is the maximum which could get retested. But before we get strengthened above this level on 4-hour chart, on daily chart, we cannot be sure about the continuation of upward movement. Here and now for today, for next sessions, maybe we are going to continue this upward movement. Pay attention that for New Zealand dollar, dollar to United States dollar, situation is really under pressure, and this currency is kind of less powerful than the other ones. And even in the case of United States dollar increasing a trend, this currency is not really rising. So due to all of these factors, we cannot really be sure about any impulsive upward movement. And we are going to look at this chart, look at this picture, more conservative and less aggressive. So 0.6620, 0.6630 is maybe the levels that could get retest. But even before the retest of these levels, there's a chance of next reversal. So pay attention on this factor. We have some really, really mild divergence here, and the shrinking of volatility is not a really good thing. That's a low amplitude, and it's not showing us that prices are accumulating any energy. Here we don't actually observing we are not really observing after any kind of energy accumulation. So here mostly we are talking about the volatility widening. We are seeing some volatility expanding, which actually means that prices are going to continue the downward movement mainly. What is going on with the commodity prices, gold prices, silver prices, and as you know, the prices of commodity and the defensive assets, risk assets, kind of rise in the case of dollar prices decreasing. And now we have this situation. So dollar is going down and gold and silver have to go up. So due to daily chart, we had some really, really little movements from yesterday, and which are not really powerful. And unfortunately, gold already have been trapped under 1,800. Now it's kind of showing us that it's getting higher than this level, but I really believe that this movement is really speculative because the volatility is really low. Here we could really get some shrinking of volatility. And the chart and the indicators are really showing us that the chance of continuation of this movement is really lower than the reversal. So here mainly we are waiting for reversal and the continuation of downward movement. If we get under 1,800 in the near future, in the nearest sessions, it would really mean that we are going to go lower. And this could actually happen only in the case of United States dollars increasing, in the case of United States dollar strengthening in the future. So United States dollar could really strengthen in the future, but for now, for today, United States dollar is continuing the downward movement. And this downward movement is really speculative. Dollar is really getting near to the mirror levels, mirror supports, and this would mean that dollar is getting ready for reversal. So be really careful with the short orders, with the short positions which you open for dollar, and with the buy position which you open for stock indexes, for gold, for euro, pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. Here we have some chance of continuation of this upward movement, but it's really, really speculative. And due to the silver chart as well, we have the level 23, which could get retested in the near future, but as impulsive, if this movement is going to be impulsive, if this breakthrough is going to be impulsive, this factor would mean that prices are going to reverse in the future. So this would be really speculative. This would be really speculative and false breakthrough on which you have to pay attention. And if you observe something like that, you have to get out long positions, which you started here. United States dollar to Swiss franc and United States dollar to Japanese yen as well are showing us that they are kind of correctionally falling, but mainly they have to continue the rise. Due to daily chart of United States dollar to Swiss franc, we had reversed from a really important resistance, but this reversal movement was really predictable because of previous impulsive retest of it. So would we continue this movement? I think that here in the near future we could get into a real hard consolidation, and we have to wait for the retest of 0.9120, 0.9120, 0.91, 0.9120. I'm sorry, 0.92, 0.9180. So sorry. 0.92 and 0.9118 is a range that would mean something in the 1 hour chart due to the work with 1 hour chart or 30-minute chart, and any kind of consolidation in this range would mean that prices are going to get reversed again. So be careful here. We have the probability of speculation. So we are getting near to these levels. You're continuing the short positions. You are opening the short positions after the test of these levels. You believe that prices are going to go lower, but pay attention. This movement is really, really speculative. The impulse is really, really sharp. So due to all of these factors, again, I'm telling you, United States dollar maybe would continue this downward movement, but it would reverse in the near future. And the probability of its strengthening is way higher than its downward movement. All of dollar's downward impulses are correctional, and you have to look at them as a correctional movement, as a corrective movement, which will leave not so long. So pay attention if you are shorting the United States dollar to Swiss franc, and pay attention that these two levels, these two supports could really stop you from the long orders opening. United States dollar to Japanese yen as well. Here we have some potential of downward movement, but we need to pay attention on the nearest levels of support levels, 114 and 40. Let's say 114, 40, 114, 20 are the nearest supports which could get retested, and after the retest of the supports, we are going to reverse. 114, 40, 114, let it be. 114 is, I think that's the last level which could get retested, but I don't believe that prices are going to even retest these levels. So is a real far due to the scale of the chart, due to the time of the chart, and due to the impulsiveness of this movement, these targets are really far from reality, and you have to pay attention that they would even won't get retested. So here is actually border after which I'm not really sure that prices are going to go lower. So I don't really believe that prices are going to go lower than these levels. And oil prices, we have already seen oil prices, $85, $80 could get retested, but shrinking of volatility is really, really powerful. So I'm not really sure about downward movements. The only thing that you can do is working with 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, because the volatility is really shrink. And due to the shrink volatility, you really cannot fulfill anything during midterm or long term. And you have to just listen to news, because oil is kind of really, really strong nowadays. US dollar to Canadian dollar as well. Consolidational movement would continue. And this upward movement which we see here, which we observe here, of United States dollar to Canadian dollar is really, really lame, is really, really moderate. And the only reason why United States dollar cannot really rise to Canadian dollar, despite United States dollar is really rising greatly, is the oil prices upward movement. So oil prices are not rising yet. They are kind of in a shrink volatility. So here, maybe in nearest sessions, if United States dollar stop its own downward movement, we could get reversed from 1.26. We could really get reversed from 1.26. So due to daily intraday tradings and daily tradings, when you open 15-minute charts or 30-minute charts, you have to be sure and pay attention that here we have some support. 1.26, 1.2640 are the levels after the retest of which we could get reversed, or we could get stuck into a consolidational movement again. So we are waiting for the retest of these levels, 1.2640, 1.26. And after the test of these levels, we could be more sure about the price reversal or the continuation of downward movement, which is not really possible because dollar is strong and oil as well. So the continuation of consolidational movement in the case of the retest of these two levels is more possible and logical. Euro to Canadian dollar and pound to Canadian dollar. Of course, they would really continue the downward movement because they are less powerful than dollar, but pound is powerful. So we cannot say that pound is going to, we cannot really short the pound to Canadian dollar too much if oil is not going to fall. And if oil is not going to fall, you cannot really short pound. And you cannot long it as well. But if you open 15-minute chart or 5-minute chart, you can do something, speculate something during the day. So due to this channel in which prices are kind of moving. So just pay attention that for United States dollar, euro, and pound to Canadian dollar, you have to pay attention to the horizontal movement which you have now, because probability of this movement continuation is more higher. So prices are going to consolidate in the midterm, and you can use this consolidation for your daily tradings, during intraday tradings, by the help of 15-minute charts or 5-minute charts, so you can fulfill some tradings and make them true. make them come true. So next comes Bitcoin prices and Bitcoin chart and Ethereum chart. From previous time, we told that prices are going to fall further, and as we see prices falling further, upward movement of previous week was really lame and was really moderate, and today's impulsive movement is kind of positive, but you have to pay attention that you can work due to this volatility only with 15-minute charts or 30-minute charts. So due to this volatility for Bitcoin, maybe we have some possibility of upward movement, but pay attention that during the nearest hours, Bitcoin could really make some downward impulse, which is actually, it actually made this downward impulse. So pay attention that Bitcoin have already retested this mirror level of 38,300. And before we get stuck under this level, the probability of the continuation of upward movement is higher. So in the near future, for traders would be more, for midterm traders would be really important to not to get stuck inside this channel. 38,000, 37,000 is really important levels which could get retested, but mainly due to the situation which we have now, the probability of this week sessions, maybe even next week sessions, strengthening of prices above these levels is higher. But the long-term and the mid-term buyings and purchasings won't really let you to make too much, because due to the situation which we have on the Bitcoin chart, we are already retesting a really important level, which have been retested due to 1 hour chart. This level was a mirror level. This level was a really important level, and we had a false breakthrough of this level. So for intraday traders, maybe here we are waiting for strengthening. So maybe some buy limits could help, and due to the situation which we have, there is some possibility of continuation of upward movement, but it would be really, really moderate. So maybe it would be better to take the next impulse after the test of 38,000, 37,000, or maybe in 35,000. So don't scare. Bitcoin is going to retest all of these levels, and it's kind of going to maybe continue the moderate upward movement. But the main levels for midterm traders, which are, for example, holding it and started to hold it after the retest of, for example, 34, when prices went above 35, is the range 37, 35. So for midterm holders, which actually started to hold it after the retest of 34, 35, is that prices are not going under this level. So before prices getting under this level, everything is okay. And you can actually continue the buys, you can actually continue the speculations to buy it, and wait for the retest of local supports to get the next impulse, which is going higher inside the channels, of course. And for Ethereum prices as well, situation is kind of the same. We have some failure, swing, reversal pattern formation, which is a good news, but I'm not really believing it. And I don't really believe in it because of the shrinking of volatility which we have here, shrinking, and the mild divergence which is as well, which still remain on the market. So I don't really think that prices are going to go higher. Here we have some level of 2,800. Level 2,800 is a really important level, and before we get strengthened above this level, we cannot say about the continuation of upward movement for Ethereum. And if we get strengthened above this level, but the amplitude is getting lower and lower, the size of candles, it won't mean anything good for buyers as well. So maybe here for Ethereum as well, you should really maybe wait for some downward correctional movements to 2,500, 2,300, and after that, take the impulse. But in the near future, if you are speculating, pay attention for scalpers, there's always probability to take the impulse when you are kind of accumulating the energy near to the local maximums or minimums. So the retest of 2800 is obvious. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to check our main website, and don't forget to use our instruments which we have on the Gerchik Co MetaTrader, and these instruments would really help you to make more profit. For example, the instruments like Alex Trader and the risk manager, which could make you not to lose money, and all of these things would really help you because they're kind of made for traders, for professional traders, and of course for beginning traders, so they could cut the losses and make the profit to grow, and not just a stable profit, but make it to grow. So algorithmical trading and risk management, which we have on our MetaTrader of Gerchik Co, is available. Don't forget to check it. Don't forget to check the information on our main site, and don't forget to subscribe on the channel and ring the bell so you won't miss the other programs which you have during the week. Thank you guys for watching, and till next time, have good tradings. Bye bye.